What's going on, knuckleheads? It's Big G with Fighters Rep, and it looks like we may have some breaking news coming from one of the most uncanny places. It looks like Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao 2. The rematch may just be on the horizon. It looks like boxing news sources on the internet are determining that the 42-year-old former pound-for-pound number one and one of the greatest of all time, the self-proclaimed TBE, and I can't really argue with him about that because he's a bad man. It looks like Floyd Mayweather was in the process of putting up or negotiating another potential exhibition fight in China, the way he did in Japan against Tenshin Nasukawa, the kickboxer. That fight that looked to be sort of a setup, but we're not sure because it was an exhibition and maybe he just beat the crap out of Tenshin. But it looks like Floyd Mayweather was in the process of negotiating another one of these exhibition fights. This time it was in China, and it's looking like the promotional director from the company that he was talking to is saying that he met with Mayweather a couple times to finalize the deal and that the exhibition would have taken place in the first half of next year as part of a grand opening of a new casino. And it looks like the promoter was under the impression that the terms were going to get finalized and the fight was going to happen. But then it looks like Mayweather suddenly shifted his focus to a Pacquiao rematch. Now, this is really interesting because you would expect to hear this sort of breaking news from the horse's mouth, basically directly from Mayweather or directly from Manny Pacquiao. But in this situation, it's basically a potential deal gone awry. And it doesn't look like the promoter's upset about it, about the exhibition match not going through, because he knows the value of a Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. But it's interesting that we're getting this information from somebody that's not one of the parties involved in the fight. And knuckleheads, a fight between Mayweather and Pacquiao would be an absolute massive fight. In fact, I would imagine that the rematch would be the biggest rematch in the history of boxing. In the history of boxing, this would be the biggest rematch because, let's face it, that was the biggest fight in the history of boxing. And I feel like Floyd Mayweather doing the exhibition match in Japan, maybe if he had done the exhibition fight in China, it would have further increased his brand in Asia. But the exhibition fight in Japan, I think that definitely helped. I think the Filipino fans are definitely familiar with Floyd Mayweather, and I'm curious to see what they would do for this fight as far as promotion, where this fight would take place. Could this be potentially a fight in Macau, or would this happen in the United States? If this is to happen, for me, if you ask me, where there's smoke, there's fire. If Mayweather is not moving forward with this exhibition match in China, and if the promoter is saying that it's likely because he's turned his attention to Manny Pacquiao, then I would imagine that that's exactly what Mayweather is thinking. He probably, after that first Pacquiao fight, where if you ask me, he won pretty easily, he's probably thinking to himself, this is another very easy payday. I stay in shape. Manny Pacquiao is not getting any better. He's definitely not going to be better than the last time I saw him. So why not? I'm going to take this fight. And while Pacquiao has been active and did fight just in July, where he decisioned Keith one-time Thurman for the WBA welterweight title, I don't believe that Manny Pacquiao has improved since the Mayweather fight. If anything, he's just further eroded, and that's probably part of the reason, if we're being honest, that Floyd Mayweather took the first fight. It was probably because he saw that that Manny Pacquiao was sort of heading into his twilight before Mayweather was heading into his, and I think what it had to do with was his style. Because a guy like Mayweather, who's so fundamentally sound and such an expert at what he does technically in the ring, he's going to age better than most fighters, especially the ones that are relying on their reflexes, that are relying on their athleticisms, and guys that come to mind are Roy Jones Jr., Manny Pacquiao. And that's not to say that Manny Pacquiao isn't fundamental and technical, because he is, but he relies more on his athleticism than Floyd Mayweather, who's just, even though he's athletic, is a boxing genius and can fall back on that. So, I mean, if anything, Mayweather's probably thinking to himself, I already beat this guy handily. It's just going to be more of the same. If not, it'll probably be even easier for him now that he's seen what Manny Pacquiao looks like in the ring. If you're going to say which guy adjusts better, you're going to have to pick Floyd Mayweather in this fight, because he's going to be the one that is going to be adjusting more so probably than Pacquiao, because of his technical know-how and his abilities in the ring. Now, that's not to say that Manny Pacquiao can't make it a tough fight. He's always dangerous. He's one of the best. He's one of the best ever, to be honest with you. But he's a smaller guy. He's going to have to rely on his athleticism. He's going to have to lunge in and out to try to get Mayweather, because he's got a much shorter reach. And again, he's the smaller guy. And that doesn't bode well for people that fight Floyd Mayweather, to be the smaller guy and to have to rely on your athleticism and lunging in and out like that. So, knuckleheads, I think this is extremely interesting news. I think this will definitely be the biggest rematch of all time. I don't see how any fight can really top this, unless perhaps something goes down in the heavyweight division between, I don't know, Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, or if that's assuming Anthony Joshua beats Ruiz. I mean, this literally still is the biggest fight in boxing, despite the fact that Mayweather has been out of the ring. He's been retired. But, I can assure you that during this retirement, he's kept in shape. He looks in shape. He looks sharp. He's always involved in boxing. I'm sure his mind is hyper sharp. He's got, the best of everything around him because of his wealth in the sport and what he can afford. I mean, I'm sure, he's got his own chefs and masseuses and whatnot. And I mean, he's probably in fantastic condition, and he's probably, ready to go right now. He probably just figures, a 6 to 8 week training camp, I'll be back in tip-top shape and I can go whip Pacquiao again. And, this is not to knock Pacquiao. Pacquiao is a great fighter, and I'm always going to have 100% respect for Pacquiao. But is he going to be able to beat Floyd Mayweather? Let's see if this rematch even happens first, but I honestly do not believe so. So there you have it, knuckleheads. That's all I have for you on that. I just wanted to share with you this potential massive rematch. If you like what you see, please tune in. Typically at 9 p.m. We're going to be airing at 9 p.m. Pacific time more often to talk about boxing, to talk about MMA, talk about combat sports. We're also going to be doing interviews like we usually do, and we always air our fights. The fights from Fighters Rep 8 should be uploaded soon. So always tune in at 9 p.m. Pacific to see what we got going on. We'll be back. If you like what you see, subscribe. Please subscribe below. Donate in the comments section. Get your Fighters Rep merchandise below. Click the Amazon link or affiliate link. Anything you buy after clicking those links, or that link rather, it gives Fighters Rep credit, so we'd greatly appreciate it. And you all have a fantastic night. Before I let you guys go, Leo Romero, thank you for joining the chat, brother. He said, ever thought of Vanderlei Silva versus Tito Ortiz rematch in Combate Americas? You know, Leo, I haven't really thought of it. I think Tito Ortiz is a little bit over the hill, if I'm being honest. Probably a lot of it. Well past his prime, and I don't think a lot of people are really even interested in watching him fight. I mean, he does have a big name in the sport, but I don't think a lot of people are interested in watching him fight. And that's all I got for you, knuckleheads. You all have a fantastic night. We'll see you Saturday immediately after the Usyk fight. We'll be jumping back on here, so be sure to tune in, and we'll see you there.